Hello guys, mabuhay! Welcome back again to my video reaction and to my channel guys. First of all, thank you for people who like and subscribe in my video reaction guys. And for those who still not subscribed, please like and subscribe in my video reaction guys. Thank you very much in advance. And you can follow me also in my Instagram and in my Facebook guys. Thank you very much guys. And for further ado, please enjoy and watch the video.
Prison for many years for various crimes, some of the worst inmates in the world have one thing in common. They're being forced to serve countless years behind bars to pay for what they've done to others. These terrible acts include more than just murder and manslaughter. As it would turn out, there are things in this world that are far worse than death. Take a look and see for yourself how the following people are some of the worst humans, and by extension, the worst inmates in the world. Let us know which of these individuals you find the most intriguing in the comments. By all means, these guys are the worst of the worst, but which one would you most dread being left alone in a room with? Jason Barnum. Jason Barnum is an inmate who decided to tattoo his face to look like a demon. After his face had been tattooed, he asked to have his right eyeball tattooed as well. While there's certainly nothing wrong with getting a few tattoos, Jason has a criminal record that mirrors his terrifying appearance. As of 2012, Jason had at least 14 prior convictions. However, he appeared in court in September of that year after he was involved in an attack against an Alaskan police officer that resulted in the officer being seriously injured. Jason, 39 years old at the time, appeared in court, yet pled guilty to all charges. In response to his cooperation throughout the trial, Jason was given just 22 years in prison, as well as the chance at parole after serving the majority of his sentence. Chief Mark Mew of the Anchorage Police Department spoke about Jason, stating, "I'm going to stick my neck out here and state the obvious. I'd like you to take a look at Mr. Barnum. He has the right to do this to himself and to express himself. We can't sentence him for that. But I think we can consider a guy's attitude and his behavior." Harold Shipman.
There's a lot of people, bad people there doing this stuff. Maybe they have problems in their homes or mental disorder. So why they are doing these bad things to other people. And the one he make his tattoo in himself, it's an art, it's nice, but it looks like more looks like a criminal, I think. But we cannot judge people even if they have a lot of tattoo. It doesn't mean they are good or bad.
Harold Shipman, also known as Dr. Death, was a British doctor and serial killer who's known to have taken the lives of at least 215 of his patients. His actions have been the cause of worldwide discussion regarding the responsibility and power of medical professionals, and have raised concerns about how helpful and safe certain types of treatment may be. Shipman's issues first began back in 1975, just 5 years after receiving his degree and medical licensing. It was discovered that he'd been writing false prescriptions for opiate pain medication and had become addicted to these medications. He was forced out of his job and into rehab for the next 2 years. In 1998, one of Shipman's patients, an 81-year-old woman, suddenly passed away after being visited by him. Her family found this odd, as she was in perfect health prior to his visit. In addition to this, Shipman insisted that no autopsy was necessary and attributed her death to natural causes. By 2002, police had launched an investigation into Shipman and found that a similar scenario had played out over 215 times, with Shipman's patients unexpectedly passing away after a visit from him. It was soon discovered that Shipman had been dosing his patients with lethal amounts of painkillers, though his motive was never revealed publicly. He was soon sentenced to life in prison. Andrei Romanovich.
As you can see, you cannot trust all people. I'm not saying you're not trusting the doctors, the police, the nurse, or anyone else, but you cannot trust fully to everyone. But we cannot blame the people. He's a doctor, so people thinking we are safe because doctor should be treat us to be good and healthy our body. They're the one repairing and treat our injuries and everything and giving us advice, giving us a good medicines as prior as your body acceptance. And the one like this, it's so very bizarre and it's so very sad because he is a doctor and he make advantage of his position doing bad to other people and overdose those people that who trust him.
Chikatilo. This vicious criminal is no longer alive to torment his victims, thankfully. Having paid the ultimate price for his crimes in February of 1994, Andrei Chikatilo, also known as the Red Ripper or the Butcher of Rostov, is a man who terrorized the streets of Russia, claiming the lives of at least 52 women and children between 1978 and 1990. His crimes took him all around the country of Russia, wreaking havoc everywhere he went. The details of his crimes are far too graphic to delve into in a video like this, but he's known for being one of the most brutal and heartless criminals in the history of mankind. He was taken to trial in 1992, being convicted for his crimes in October of that year. However, the Supreme Court of Russia overruled the verdict and alleged that the courts did not have sufficient evidence to convict him of at least 9 of his supposed 52 victims. Regardless, these 9 cases did not save him from facing capital punishment. His life was taken from him in February of 1994, putting an end to his reign of terror. While all human life is certainly worth saving, the amount of chaos and turmoil that Andrei inflicted onto the lives of his victims is unforgivable, and I don't know of too many people who will miss him now that he's gone. Rodney Alcal.
It really looks like a criminal, even if you cannot. You just see him in the street. He really looks like a criminal, even still that not doing anything. I'm not saying he's a really big bad person, but he's really worse. It's not bad. He's worse because he's killing women and children, and they take advantage for the women and children doing that stuff. I'm not feel sorry that he was been died, but we're also sad for the people, the one he's killing.
Rodney Alcala earned a name for himself after appearing on the famous game show The Dating Game. It was this show that helped expose his crimes and unraveled the details of how he'd been claiming the lives of numerous young girls over the course of a decade. Now known as the dating game killer, Rodney's crimes are believed to have begun in the 1960s. He's known to have lured a young girl into his apartment where he attacked her in unspeakable ways. He would later be found living in New York under the name John Berger. He would then begin taking lives in 1971, with police eventually capturing him after he attacked another young girl. He was released after spending just 17 months in prison, and after attacking yet another young girl a few years later, he was sent back to prison. However, he was once again given a short sentence of just 2 years. It wouldn't be until 1979 that he was finally given capital punishment for taking the lives of at least 5 people, but some experts believe his death toll could be much higher. Thankfully, regardless of his crimes, Rodney is no longer roaming this earth and cannot hurt anyone else ever again. Eileen Warno.
People doing like that, they will repeatedly doing that things, even if they are been prison for how many years. When they got out, they will still doing that, because I think that is their in mental thinking, that they want to do something like that. It seems like people who want to get a cigarette, and they don't want to stop, and that's what he's doing. Looks like his body cannot control for doing killing other people, so he should be prison that time and not been released, and he already committed a lot of crimes, so it should not been in that way. It should be that the judgment should be hard and difficult from him, that he cannot be released on afterwards, so he cannot commit any crime and killing innocent and other people.
Between 1989 to 1990, Eileen Wuornos is said to have claimed the lives of at least 7 men, all by a single shot delivered at point-blank range. While being self-employed as a street worker, Eileen claimed that each of these men assaulted her in some way, insisting that these attacks were carried out in self-defense. But we all know that wasn't true. She did her best to create fake stories throughout the trial, though the jury eventually decided that she was guilty and sentenced her to capital punishment on 6 different charges. Eileen is now regarded as one of only a few well-known female serial killers in the world. While her trial was ongoing, Eileen was believed by most people to have been completely psychotic. Mental health experts believe she suffered from several personality disorders and could not have been helped by therapy or medication. Regardless of this, she was still considered to be sane at trial, and thankfully so. She was sent through the prison system, and her fateful day eventually came. Prior to her leaving this earth, she stated, "I'd just like to say that I'm sailing with the rock, and I'll be back like Independence Day with Jesus. Like the movie, big mothership and all, I'll be back." Thankfully, Eileen's prophecy doesn't seem to have come true. By all means, the impact of Eileen's poor decisions will plague humanity for many years, but at least her criminal days are behind us. John Wayne Gacy.
I was heard and see this document of this woman, because he's been assaulted, because she's working in the street. Looks like, I don't know, maybe a prostitute. Then people harass. There's one guy harassing her, and looks like rape her. So she's defending herself. Then he shoot that guy. Then when he shoot that guy, then he then reported that he been assaulted with that guy and being what call this one, being raped like that. And afterwards, looks like his mind and his body cannot control that. He want to kill another person again, and she will create another story that this guy again assaulted me like that, and she doing that thing and murdered that people, and doing lies story that she's been assaulted like that and everything, and the police cannot think that how can it be happen every time like that, and she's the victim always.
John Wayne Gacy, also known as Pogo the Clown, is an American serial killer responsible for the deaths of 33 young boys and men between 1972 and 1978, all of whom were from Chicago. Gacy was known to have killed most of his victims by means of asphyxiation or strangulation, burying at least 26 of his victims underneath his home. Later on, he resorted to simply disposing of the bodies in lesser-known public areas. Gacy isn't just known for his murders, though. In fact, he's arguably more well-known as a character he portrayed at numerous charity events by the name of Pogo the Clown. Gacy eventually became a very prominent public figure in the Chicago area, even taking photos with the First Lady at one point after Gacy had successfully led the annual Polish Constitution Day parade. Though all of his public attention didn't keep Gacy from sexually assaulting and murdering 33 people, 32 of which took place within just a 3-year window of time. Ultimately, Gacy was put to death by lethal injection in 1994. He's lived on as one of the most prolific American serial killers of all time, and is likely why so many people have an irrational fear of clowns, though maybe that fear isn't so irrational after all. The Nithari Killer.
Yeah, a lot of people have a trauma and scared with the clown. People looks like they're making a face of a clown, looks like a dramatic, looks like scary. So people traumatic of the clown. Some clown also, some people making themselves clown. Then they're making pranking or make bad things to other people or other neighbors and the houses, because they cannot people cannot see what their looks like really looks like because of the clown makeup. So the other clown people, a good clown people who's making only the job like that, has been affected also with these people doing bad things to other people.
Between 2005 and 2006, gruesome and unspeakable murders took place in Nithari, India. Businessman Moninder Singh Panter and his servant Kohli claimed the lives of at least 5 children in the businessman's home. The remains of these young children would later be discovered in a city water tank. Some of the children had been missing for many years, and it seemed as though their cases would finally be closed, but not in the way their families had hoped. In addition to taking the lives of these 5 children, the servant Kohli later admitted that he had been sexually involved with several young women against their consent. By all means, these 2 men were nasty individuals who had no regard for human life. The 2 men had also been accused of disturbing acts such as cannibalism, pedophilia, and even organ trafficking. They were later convicted for several of these terrible crimes, and both of the men received the death penalty. Even though this penalty could never be enough to make up for what they did to so many innocent people, maybe the families of these poor victims can at least rest more peacefully, knowing that the men responsible can never hurt anyone else. Dennis Rader.
You see, there's in the picture, there's a baby. Looks like maybe 1 year old. Then they killed it. For what reason? There it's saying it's organ transplants and cannibalism. What is that? They're eating the human baby and the children? That's so very bizarre and mind-boggling, because how can you kill a baby like that when you see the face of the baby, an innocent baby that never done anything wrong with you or anyone? Then you're just maybe kill that, or I cannot imagine how they do that. And cannibalism, oh my god, are they vampire or something?
Dennis Rader, also known as the BTK Killer, is an American serial killer, most well known for his bizarre means of murdering his victims, as well as his sexual fetish of wearing his female victims' underwear, later posing in photos with it before dumping their bodies. He's known to have killed at least 10 victims, 9 of whom were female and 1 male. In addition to his murders, Dennis is also well known for the games he played with police, taunting them with letters and messages for over 30 years. In these messages, he would include vague clues about himself, as well as occasionally include photos of his victims, claiming responsibility for their deaths. In fact, it was one of these letters that actually led to his eventual arrest. By 2004, it had been over 12 years since Dennis's last letter was received by police. The case of the BTK killer had run cold. However, seemingly out of nowhere, another letter came in, this time by means of a floppy disk. Police found that the file was created by a man named Dennis and was exported from a nearby church. Police went to the church, asked for a list of members who were named Dennis, and were led directly to the criminal. He's currently in his 70s and resides in the El Dorado Correctional Facility. Sergei Tkach. Sergei Tkach.
You see, you cannot know that these people are innocent. Even they are, I think he's been in the church working, or I don't know. You cannot think that these people, you cannot imagine people working in the church doing bad things and this stuff. You have to take care of yourself. Don't trust a stranger fully. And if you can avoid that people, avoid them, and you have to be take care and be careful.
Ach is a man from Ukraine who's believed to have claimed the lives of more than 100 people between 1984 and 2005. After taking the lives of these people, he's known to have carried out sexual acts with their bodies, with some believing this was his sole purpose for killing. All of his victims were between 8 and 18 years old and were female. He would find his victims at train stations or on long-distance strips of road, capturing them when no one was around to stop him. He was finally arrested in 2005 after a close friend's daughter lost her life. He would be sentenced for 36 murders, but passed away in prison in 2019 after suffering from heart failure. Pedro Alonso Lopez.
For me, if I will be the one to be judged for that, I'm not saying he's a very good person and bad person, but he's killing 100+ women and sexually abuse them. He should be been in a death sentence. It's just in my opinion. For me, the people innocent, that and the family of the two children and women that she's been killing, murdered, and sexually abused, it should be death sentence, as on my opinion.
Better known as the Monster of the Andes, Pedro Lopez is a man from Colombia who confessed to taking the lives of at least 300 people in Peru, Ecuador, and
What?
Colombia. Lopez was born in a family with 12 other siblings, and his mother was a prostitute who would frequently beat him. This led him to move out of his home and live on the streets when he was just 8 years old. He would eventually be sent to prison after he stole a car, and when he was released, his crime spree would begin. He often found young girls to victimize, assaulting them before taking their lives and hiding their bodies in pits he had dug. He was captured after many years and confessed to taking the lives of at least 300 people. He served about 14 years of his 20-year sentence before being sent to Colombia to live out the rest of his days in a mental health facility. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like.
That's so very bizarre. 300 plus. He's killing 300 plus people, and also sexually abusing that people, that women, that children. Then, oh my God, it's so sad. The children then didn't know anything what's happened. Still no didn't know any happen in this world, and then been killed, and then been abused their bodies, and dump their bodies anywhere like that. It's so sad, and it's so very bizarre and mind-boggling. How can people doing like that? Because maybe he was been take out with his family, and his mother was pretty prostitute and treat him looks like a garbage, and he's living his life all the way in the street. That's why maybe he's thinking, I have to do something bad to other people so I can feel good in myself. And that's wrong. That's very, very wrong. You should not do anything like that, from mostly from the people and women and children. You should be uh, protected to other people. Okay guys, that is the end of our video reaction for today guys. Thank you for watching and joining me in my video reaction for today guys. Thank you very much. And for those who still not subscribed, please don't forget to like and subscribe in my video reaction and in my channel guys. Thank you very much guys. And you can also follow me in my Facebook and in my Instagram guys. Thank you very much guys. And for the word for today, never be a prison of your past. It was just a lesson, not a life sentence. Okay guys, have a good day and God bless everyone. Bye.